Hey everyone, your host, your friend, your fellow horror enthusiast Bruce Marvel here from the Marvel of Horror, where we talk all things past, present, and future as they pertain to the horror genre. It is World Dracula Day. Famous comic book artist Neil Vokes worked on such titles as The Black Forest, Wicked West, came by to talk none other than Dracula, the biggest horror icon I can think of, and that's coming from a Frankenstein monster guy. So sit back and I hope you enjoy it.
We have a special guest on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Christopher Lee.
Man, Mr. Christopher Lee.
Just don't call me Dracula.
Well, you got the fangs and the blood kind of dripping through your mouth there,
Oh,
man.
this makeup is hard to take off. Sorry, Mr. Lee, I really do love you. I'll put you over there.
That's Trick or Treat Studios, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got the, I got the Mummy one, and I got the Seven Golden Vampires one.
Yeah, the Golden Vampires one is
Oh,
cool.
yeah. And the Curse Frankenstein.
Would you like to partake in some Dracula wine?
But I never drink
Wine.
wine. What's the name of the wine?
Dracula.
Well, goddammit, let's drink this
Let's
sucker.
drink it. It's a rosé.
Here's to Christopher Lee, Peter Cushing, Bram
Oh.
Stoker, and everybody and anybody who loves Dracula.
That's right. Throw Bela Lugosi in there too. Yeah, I'm not a big wine drinker per se, but this is actually quite good.
Reminds me of a young lady from 1885, 86, around there.
It's a good year.
Good. She was a good year, yes. Very light. Her name was Rosé.
I was going to say, is her name Rosé? Because that's kind of what it tastes
And
like.
she was quite sparkling.
Sparkling rosé. Very good, sir. Very good. So I noticed.
What?
I've noticed you've changed your outfit.
I'm a little older, that's true. Yes. What's wrong with my outfit?
You've added to it.
Oh, it's just another Dracula-related shirt.
I
That's
was
all.
talking more of the. Some prefer the term cloak. Others know it as a cape.
What cape?
The cape.
Oh, this. I figured the evening was slowly approaching. I thought I'd put on my evening wear. Where? It's for the evening, of course. These are the jokes, son.
Yeah. We've been drinking wine, so.
This is for the Dracula collector who really, if they can't quite get Dracula himself, at least get some of his clothes.
Yeah, really. I mean, it's so that's another Trick or Treat studio, right?
This is through the Lugosi estate, of course. It has been certified by the Lugosi estate. This is a replica of Mr. Lugosi's cape / cloak.
Yeah.
It's even got the little, you can't see it with my gray hair sticking out there, but it's got the little collar on it also. And the interior is, as far as we know, the proper color, but it's black white film. But there was a lighter interior like this in his. Mm-hmm. And it might be based on could it be based on the Broadway version of this one? I'll have to look that one up.
It very well could be. Like I always forget that. I always forget
Trick or Treat Studios, and it's beautiful. We both have tried the. We'll have Bruce try it on too before we go.
No, I've tried it
because the best thing about it is you don't even actually see Bruce when he puts the cape. It's just he disappears totally behind the cape.
Yeah, it's not. I would need a full-time page if I was wearing this.
It's a little pricey, but not terribly at all, and it's wonderful. But one thing we both had to point out: it is heavy as heck.
It is. It's wool, isn't it?
I think it's wool or something of that nature. It's really heavy. I can't imagine wearing this for like long scenes it takes in a movie or something, or on Broadway for that matter.
I mean, the actors who've played Dracula have always constantly complained about the long day of shooting, how heavy that thing becomes. Yeah.
But
especially if you're sweating.
Fortunately, in my particular career, I don't need to wear a cloak while I'm working.
You just prefer to?
I just want to.
You just choose to.
It's my
Because
choice.
you wear this thing around the house, don't you?
Oh, constantly, never at all. I have the only last time I wore this one. I got it very recent. Got it for my birthday, so I'm actually 70 and 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And
Mother's Day, right?
Yeah, it was also Mother's Day.
It's Mother's Day.
And this was a mother to wear, I'll tell you.
It looks heavy.
It even looks heavy. It
Like,
is, and it is heavy.
It looks heavy.
It's not illusion. It really is heavy. But no, the only time I wore it was when I opened up the box, and I wore it for a few little pictures for the Vokes family, the Vokes folks. And then my daughter Erin tried it also. She got right in. She got right into character.
I saw that picture.
Right into character, cool. Even doing the gestures and everything. And yeah, and I adore it because it fits my obsession in a way. I don't plan to wear this a lot. First of all, because I really don't want anything to happen to it. But the other thing is because it's heavy. In case I haven't mentioned that earlier. But it is now part officially of my collection, as it were.
I always forget what the it was done on Broadway before the 1931 film.
Mm-hmm.
Thank God it was, because we wouldn't have got the 1931 film.
It was first performed not as a play, as a reading, when Stoker was still around. And I think it was on a stage somewhere. Then sometime after that, I don't believe he lived long enough to see an actual stage performance. His wife, his widow, of course, did.
Yeah.
She approved of those. She did not approve of Nosferatu.
Right. So
that was wrong, guys. That you should have done that.
She sued them, correct?
She sued them. She intended for them to destroy every print of that movie.
Oh, thank
God.
And
for us, thank goodness she did not succeed in that. But she did approve of several stage performances and such through the years. So and I'm sure she must have been around for the movie. I'm pretty sure she was around for the movie. Again, I know I'm supposed to be an expert, and I'm questioning whether I know what I'm talking about. But at least I admit that I'm wondering if I'm right about something, and not just flat out plainly saying it.
Well, that's one thing I pride myself on, like the Marvel of Horror, that we don't try to.
I just noticed these glasses were slanted.
Oh yeah,
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
To interrupt you.
We don't. It's easy to go online and just kind of memorize things. We're not IMDb. We don't try to be.
Well, an IMDb isn't, always on the ball, or Wikipedia for that matter.
Yeah. But like I say, we're just fans talking.
Let's say not memorized, but acquired mucho knowledge. You didn't know I could speak Mexican, did you? Mucho knowledge on the subject matter and its related subject matters in film and so on and so forth. And it's more of not so much a conscious. I'm rarely conscious anyway. A conscious way of gathering that knowledge so I have it all there in my head, is I just enjoy learning about those things. I'm one of those people that sits and watches DVD commentary, listens to DVD commentaries, watches behind the scenes things. Even when I know the movie backwards and forwards, I like hearing about how they made the movie, who was behind it, the director's commentaries. I was one of those that sat and watched the entire, I think it was 9 hours of Lord of the Rings commentaries and stuff from Mr. Peter Jackson. It just fascinates me. That stuff always fascinates. That's why I have so many of those books on film. Yeah. And which is probably is definitely the main reason I know as much as I do know about certain movies, is because I find that stuff interesting. Most people just know I'm not really interested in that sort of thing.
No, so, I'm getting more and more into that stuff as I get older. I find myself, like now I actually do. For the longest time, I would get DVDs or Blu-rays, and I would just get it to have the movie to watch, whenever I wanted to. But now I want to watch the features.
Yeah. Well, that's because your curiosity got piqued, and you want to start learning about these things.
And I love watching YouTube videos on like the movies and how they got made and stuff behind them.
Maybe someday you will be an expert also.
I can only hope. I mean,
I will. and am passing on my knowledge as it is now.
And I'm trying to retain as much as I can. But I too,
I retain things too. Usually it's water,
well,
but
I
I'm doing my
retain a lot of
best.
the wrong
Doing my
things too.
best. So
Like I said, yeah, I would love to be able to remember everything I've read and all the books, because I'm starting to like read books about the movies and old
yeah,
films and
yeah.
all that. And
I've probably given you a couple.
you probably, yeah, you definitely have, especially like the Hammer stuff. So your collection, and getting back to Dracula, like what is, if you even have one, what would be your most prized
Oh, jeez.
Dracula collected piece?
You
think?
always do this to me. Why you always need me to pick
I
a
do.
favorite of something, a best of, or something? I
Well,
wouldn't
like I
have
said-
as many different things if I need if only one of them or a couple of them were the best.
Well, I didn't say. I said your favorite.
Well, again, anyone I have is my favorite. I mean, that's what. Same with you. You didn't get all these just individually. Well, I like this one much more than this one, but they're,
I mean,
they're
there's some I
all
like
your,
more than the
they're
others,
all
yeah.
your favorites, though. That's why you have them, because they're your favorites. But I think certainly there are a few that I really do.
Which
love.
one stands out?
Well, now are we speaking just statues,
Dracula.
like resin statues? Well, I know Dracula, but the resin statues or figures or.
Let's start with statues. Why
Well,
not?
we know these guys. These two are very nice pieces.
Yes, they are from Sideshow.
I think the prototypes, which I'm guessing, I haven't read that they are the prototypes, but they must have been the prototypes that I saw years ago of these, long before they ever advertised they were selling them. I thought they looked fantastic, and they are virtually the same thing, except the clothes were changed.
Mm-hmm.
He had the inner black lining on his cloak, and his face was a little different, I think, and the suit he's wearing was different. So they apparently made some choices since then. But I do like them. They're both very nice, very impressive. I love the life-size Christopher Lee Dracula head that I have. It's very nice. Glenn Skidmore did a beautiful job in the painting. He even gave him the kind of 5 o'clock shadow that Lee has a lot of times in the shot. Another one that Glenn did, that Mr. Jeff Yeager sculpted, is a classic scene from the original Dracula with Bela Lugosi and Edward Van Sloan as Van Helsing, in front of the fireplace.
Yeah.
And that is gorgeous. We'll try to stick a picture of that in.
Yeah,
later.
absolutely.
And even put in, there's a little stool sitting in the middle between them. And Glenn did extra. Well, he's always doing a little extra. In fact, the backdrop is not in the original sculpture. He added the backdrop behind with the fireplace, and we had him put a photo of Bram Stoker in the portrait. But the stool has some of my stuff on. He did miniature copies of some of my artwork related to the subject, and right there on the stool. I think one's a Little Famous Monsters cover too, actually, of Lugosi. So that's a favorite, certainly, because it's gorgeous. Yeah. I have a lot of my Lugosi statues I think are really, really nice. And obviously the Hammer Dracula related stuff. I have several. There's another one, the bigger one, the diorama one, that Dan actually painted, Dan Gallagher, painted, of the scene from Dracula AD 72, when Van Helsing is
stabbing him with
impaling Dracula with the. Actually, he's not so much impaling him as he's holding it there so he doesn't take it out, of the spokes of the wheel in his chest, and with him lying on the ground and being removed.
That's a great piece.
That is a neat one. I have a couple that were done originally by Mike Hill, who has, through the years, now become much better known for doing a lot of life-size figures, sculptures, and has worked with Guillermo del Toro on many projects, including his Oscar-winning Shape of Water. It was Shape of Water, wasn't it?
Yeah, Shape of Water.
And he does a lot of designs for him for stuff. And so you see, I have favorites. Yes, I. It's like the old saying, how do I pick my favorite child? Right? I love them all. I love them all. I could probably easily part with some. I don't know that any of them would be Draculas, though, because I just figured I had to prioritize. So I suspect I will always hang on to my Dracula stuff and acquire some more in the meantime. Hammer related stuff, I really don't want to give up. The thing is, I don't really want to give up any of them, but it's going to be inevitable. Like you're realizing it has to be inevitable. You have to make some decisions. Who do you cut out of the
Yeah.
herd?
Uh-huh.
You know,
It's always tough. It's always tough. And I've actually sold I've sold a lot of my Marvel supervillains to make way for getting more of my monster stuff, which, cuz Glenn going to keep painting them. I'm going to keep
Glenn.
sending work his way.
Yes, as long as we keep paying him, he'll keep paying them.
Yeah. And hopefully if we keep buying them, Jeff Yeager will keep putting out more.
I don't think he's going to stop anytime soon.
I'm really hoping for that.
We got your Predator-related ones
Yeah.
coming soon.
I'm really hoping for that Gorgon bust one day.
Nope, so far nothing mentioned.
I know.
But they did, I believe it was Paul Gill and Mr. Yeager, did say, I think there is some other Hammer stuff coming down the line. They have not, I don't think they've mentioned what it is. Oh, no, they did. Frankenstein Created Woman. It would be Cushing as Victor Frankenstein from Frankenstein Created Woman.
Okay, well, that's cool. That's one I would get.
Yeah. I'm guessing it might be that still where he's holding the skull. I'm guessing. I don't know for a fact.
I hope so. That'd be
so
cool.
that was the next thing they've announced that is in the Hammer line.
Well, so, okay, this kind of relates back to Dracula. I'm not sure if they're going to keep doing them because we kind of talked about this. They didn't really, I don't think anybody bought enough of the mummies, but if they would do Dracula from Monster Squad, that would be fantastic.
Well, as you know, they've done the Gill Man. The ones I have, the alternative images one, I'm pretty sure it is. And they did a Wolfman.
And I have the Wolfman.
You got one also. But then separately, there was one that was done more as a bust of the mummy from Monster Squad. And supposedly they're working on the Gill Man for the second one. The thing is with these fellas, as much as they love doing them, as much as they want them themselves, they can't always afford to do just anything if they don't get enough orders ahead of time.
Yeah.
It's because they're very small print runs, as it were. And the Gill Man has been held off a bit because I think they didn't get quite enough pre-orders, but I think they have gone back to it. I think they're still doing that. But yes, like you, I really, really, really hope they do the Duncan Regar Dracula.
Yeah, and he was a great Dracula.
He was a good Dracula. I thought his suit was a little silly. That's not his fault. But they had to do a variation on Lugosi's outfit. But he's so good as the guy. He's an evil Dracula. He doesn't play it nice and lovelorn. He is an evil Dracula.
I will have your son. We all know the line from that movie. Give me the amulet, you bitch!
Yes.
He's
very good.
Eddie, who does the editing, he was on the Marvel of Horror, and he talked Monster Squad with us. God, seems like forever ago. But the episode's out there. If you want to go back and watch it.
I'm going to have to now that I know all about Ed.
Yeah.
So, because I'm going to want him to like me so I don't get cut out of it.
Yeah, great guy, that Eddie. Producer of this show.
Ooh. And the producer of other things in your life, apparently.
Well, he's my brother-in-law. Yeah, you know what? He's my brother. Let's put it that way.
I think I got confused at one point. You've several times mentioned him as Ed, the editor, is your brother-in-law. I swear earlier you called him your father-in-law.
No, Ed's father, my father-in-law.
Ed.
No, he is a Lloyd.
You called him Ed.
That's a mistake then.
We will have to check the video.
His name is Lloyd, and he's Ed's father.
I think
my father-in-law.
I think you called Ed your father-in-law.
Okay. Well,
it's possible.
He's going to have to fix that,
and not what you said. But since he's the editor, he can fix that.
He's going to have to fix it, and he's going to have his work cut out for him with this 6 hours of footage we're going to send.
And again, I don't want you to get rid of the original footage.
We'll keep
really,
it.
really want the raw footage.
I will send you the raw footage off of me and I'll send you the stuff off me and Leela's phones.
Yeah.
And you can have it.
Hey horror fans, help support the Marvel of Horror podcast by going to our merch shop and getting one of our exclusive items.
People spend way too much time judging a film before they ever even see it. The minute you put up images, that's what happens.
Yeah.
It's like that one image of the new Superman. people jumped all over that because he's sitting there pulling his boot on or something, and oh, and look, there's little folds in his costume because of, and it, just relax, see the movie. Then if you don't like it, fine. You're looking at one picture from a movie that's not even going to be out for a year yet.
Yeah,
just relax.
I didn't think it looked all that bad.
But that was one of those things. Everybody started going on and on about that stupid thing. It was silly. I think it was a mistake for him to put any image up yet. I think he probably should have waited a little bit. But then he doesn't care. I mean, he cares, but he doesn't care what people are going to start saying about it long before they see the movie. I think he is a very competent writer and director, has proved it almost literally with every film he's ever made. I think he's going to do a great job. But in a year, we'll find out, and we'll do something about Superman then.
I still wish they could have got Henry Cavill back to do Superman.
Well, they kind of did a little bit at the end of Black Adam, which sadly didn't do as well as it should have. I think it should have done better, personally.
I like Black Adam.
Again, an entertaining movie. It was an entertaining movie. I think The Rock may have sort of sabotaged it a little because he was all over the place, everywhere, going on about it, which you get. I get it.
I don't think anybody promotes a project quite as good as
I think he might have overdone it.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean,
and how
he's
it's going
all
to
over
change
the place.
the DC universe and all this stuff. I think maybe even people at DC thought that was too much, you know. But anyway, they ended up wanting to change the whole schmear anyway. That's why they got Gunn in there. But I think Black Adam should have done a little better.
Yeah.
But anyway, doesn't matter. It's not up to us anyway.
At least we got to see a Black Adam movie.
We got to see Black Adam movie, and we got to see Superman one more time. Cavill Superman one more time.
Cavill Superman. You know what? I didn't even. You know me. I was never ever. I still really am not a Superman fan, but I really enjoyed Henry Cavill as Superman.
Yeah,
so
I did too. I did. Didn't we see Man of Steel together?
We did. We did see Man of Steel. How do you think Henry Cavill would pull off being Dracula?
Being Dracula?
Yeah.
What makes you think he's going to be Dracula? Well, you mean theoretically speaking, not something you know. Otherwise, Henry Cavill's not playing Dracula.
No, no one said he would. I'm just saying theoretically. What do you think?
No, I couldn't see it.
You couldn't see it?
I could see it, but I don't think it would be right. No.
No, you don't think so?
No. He's a different type. The thing is, he's actually a really good choice for a character like Superman. At least the general concept of what Superman is, and the only thing he really did that was aside from that was the whole, killing Zod thing, which, again, I had no problem with how they did that in the film. But he pulled off the good guy Superman. He was charming, he was pleasant, he was very heroic. I mean, it had less to do with his muscles and more to do with his personality. And I think he did a good job as Superman. Yeah, I think he was really good at it. But I don't think... I've seen him in other things. I saw him in that, what's it called? The Immortals.
Okay.
I think he plays Theseus or something in that.
Yeah.
And he was actually a lot slimmer. He's still muscular, but he was really slim. And he was pretty good in that. I think he's a good type. He's a good actor for a certain type. I didn't particularly like him as Napoleon Solo, only because I have an image of what Napoleon Solo is. And their version of Guy Ritchie did a Man from U.N.C.L.E. movie.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And so that was like, again, not his fault. He just came across more as James Bond, which, of course, many people would love him to be also.
There's still a talk of him doing that, isn't there?
I don't think that's going to happen.
No?
I don't think so, based on at least what the producers have been intending. And I could be wrong. I don't know. I might look. Sitting on my poor cape here like this. That they want to go younger. Not like young, but a younger Bond. And he's 40 now, or 41 or something like that.
Yeah, well, I mean, that makes sense.
That means that, if you figure the usual,
you're going to build a franchise.
Say 15 years of James Bond, and they only do them every, 2-3 years at best?
Sometimes, yeah. There was a big,
maybe
I feel like
he'll
there was
get
a gap.
4 movies out of it, and he'll be 55 going on 60.
Yeah, there was a big gap in some of those Craig ones, I thought.
Which was not his fault either. It was all business shit. Yeah. So I think they want to go a little younger because they want some longevity to the character.
No, that makes sense. If you're going to build
that fella, Anthony Taylor Johnson, who played
who's going to be Kraven,
Kick-Ass, and who's going to be Kraven, who has been Kraven, but we just haven't seen it yet. and also was in Bullet Train. He was really
Yeah,
good.
he was
In
great
fact-
in Bullet Train.
In fact, his appearance in Bullet Train, I think, kind of instigated more of the talk of him maybe
Yeah.
being. And he's at least in the age range I think they're thinking of.
Well, how old is he?
I think he's only in his 30s.
Really?
Yeah, he's not in his 40s yet.
I feel like Kick-Ass was so long ago.
Yeah. And he almost doesn't even seem like the same actor because how he bulked up over time.
No, he's a completely different. What movie was it? I think it's called. He's in a movie called Nocturnal Animals,
Yeah.
and he's a real son of a bitch in that movie.
And he's also played John Lennon. He played a young John Lennon years before he did Kick-Ass.
Oh shit!
Oh yeah. So he's been around a little while, but no, he is in his 30s. I couldn't tell exactly how old he is, but he's younger than.
I would have put him at the same. I would have put him in the same age, like
As
around
Cavill?
40.
No. Nope. For me, with him playing it, it's the same as Luke Evans playing him in Dracula Untold. And Dracula Untold is an entertaining movie,
That is an entertaining movie.
except he is played as such an anti-hero, and he is such a heroic-looking guy, handsome-looking guy. That's what Cavill would. It would be the same thing. You'd be seeing this, and they would. There's no way Cavill would play him as an evil creature. It's just not going to happen. You wouldn't get that actor to do it, and they didn't do it with Evans either. Evans wasn't. Even when he became a vampire, he didn't become an evil creature of any sort.
Well, no, I
He
think
was still a heroic leader of his people,
I think that's what they were going for, though, and
which is fine. That's what I mean.
Know what I mean?
But you couldn't do Dracula, real Dracula, unless you have a certain kind of actor. You need a certain kind of actor. You need somebody like Jeremy Irons in his younger days, people like that.
oh
You
man,
know, that voice, that body, and everything.
I
He's
think
just
if he-
built
Jeremy Irons.
that kind of actor.
Jeremy Irons back in the day would be too busy playing Doctor Doom. That's who they should get to play Doctor.
Which
If they could
yes,
just get a time
absolutely.
machine.
In our casting heaven,
Fantasy,
he
yeah,
would
fantasy casting.
He would be Doctor.
1988 Jeremy Irons. Whew.
But there are, to me, it has to be an actor like that to at least fit more the mold of what Dracula is.
Are you amazed that like Dracula is like this even today, here it is 2024, there's still such a fan base for it. There's still so much clamor for more
No,
Dracula.
I'm not
You're not surprised at all? Doesn't blow your mind every once in a while?
No, for the same reason that we said before about those other characters like Holmes and all the others. Certain characters just connect somehow. Like Dracula wasn't the first vampire in a novel. He was, there was Varney the Vampire, I think it was, and The Vampire by Polidori.
Polidori, yeah.
That came before Dracula. Why didn't they become more popular?
Well,
It was
Carmilla too, right?
and Carmilla, which certainly has its popularity and following, but something in Dracula connected with people, and it was probably a lot to do, like so many things. It happened. It was the right thing at the right time with the right audience, and that stuck. And then because it became popular and started becoming adapted and things into plays and such, and then in 1931, that was only 33, 34 years after the book was published. So it wasn't even that far from the original publication of the book. At that point, it's set, it's in stone now. 1931's Dracula. That's it. Everything stems at that point from
Yeah.
there. So I think it's just a character that just connected. Somehow it connected. I don't know how. They always say, if you could figure out the secret for why certain things are successful, you'd make a lot of money.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
nobody really knows. Certainly, as books I've read, like by William Goldman, director William Goldman, and writer William Goldman. I don't know if he was director. I could be wrong there, but he was a famous screenwriter. He said nobody knows anything. They don't. They think they know what the audience wants. They try to give them what they want. Then they find out the audience doesn't want that. And when they find out what the audience wants, it's purely by accident.
believe-
They like that? What?
I believe Socrates said something similar. All I know is I know nothing.
I didn't know you knew the guy.
No, I
He
just
must be
read.
getting on in age by now.
Oh, you mean Socrates?
Socrates, yeah.
My name's Billy the Kid. This here's Socrates. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Yeah.
Oh, like you had to explain that
Yeah.
to your audience. So come on.
Now, off the topic of Dracula again.
And we're right back to Keanu Reeves. again.
Yeah, who was in Dracula? It all comes back around.
See? If it isn't about Dracula, it's somehow connected. 6 degrees of
Yeah,
Dracula.
the 6 degrees of Dracula. I am always looking for an excuse to pick up more physical media. I did not have
Yes.
a 4K of Bram Stoker's Dracula, and I saw the Steelbook, so that should
Yeah.
be coming tomorrow.
And from the reviews I read, it sounds like it's in very good shape.
Well, yeah, I can't wait because the
Well,
sound
it is,
quality
for a film like
for
that,
the
for me,
one I had was bad.
buying upgrades of certain films, for me, when it comes to the 4K stuff, for me, it is about the upgrading the visual part of the story. And only a certain number of movies really need, they're not, there's a lot of stories that are just good dramas and things like that. They're not dependent on the visual element of the story. So why do a 4K of something that's only just
Yeah.
a good character story or something? So I think something like Bram Stoker's Dracula, because of it's a very visual movie.
Yes.
You want something that really upgrades that look and that sound and everything. And the same with like a lot of my favorite westerns, the big widescreen westerns like The Searchers and things like that. You want to see that look even better than it already looks. If it's just your average movie, I don't really worry about the 4K. I just think about the visual end of it. Visually, yeah, that would look great in 4K, that sort of thing. That's just me.
Well, as we're winding down, final thoughts on Dracula, sir?
Ooh. There's something I love about the character. And in general, vampire-related stories, vampire movies at least, I do tend to, try to catch a lot of vampire movies. I have a lot of favorites of those, and so it's kind of related to Dracula. But there's something about his character that just kind of, I really honestly couldn't tell you there's sometimes you like something because you like it, and there's probably a reason why. I personally have no explanation for it other than for some reason I connected with that character, that fictional character, and I love it. I love many others, but I tend to put him above the others. I put him above the others sometimes. But I mean, I just as soon go watch a John Wayne movie or a Sherlock Holmes movie, a good Sherlock Holmes movie, or a good Tarzan movie. I love all those characters, but for some reason, yeah, I honestly wish there was a way I could say why. I don't know why. Why do any of us connect to any sort of thing? There's just something, maybe it's spiritual or psychological, or something even more mysterious than that. So I don't know. But what it comes down to is obviously I do love the character. I love seeing it done well. I even love some of them that aren't done that well. But I still love the character. I have lost no love for the character, even when people screw it all up. So I'll always have the original, as they say, like they say about comics. Just because they make a movie about a comic, it's nothing like a certain Marvel villain that you and I both know.
Yep.
Just because they may have screwed it up for you, you still have the original.
I still have the original. I still have the original Taskmaster.
I didn't want to bring it out.
I knew it. Yeah, I wanted to give the folks at home what he's talking about. We won't go there though. That's a separate day.
That's separate subject. But the point is the same. It relates still to something like you always will have that original thing that you love, and you can always go back to.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. But I honestly believe there's a whole lot more we could have talked about. Because he permeates so many different, elements, categories of things, not just movies and books and music, and pictures and paintings and
he's such a
toys.
You can't even say pop culture. Like Dracula
Food.
Dracula is just such a
wine.
part. It's just such a part of culture.
Yeah.
Today, like you said, you said this was many hours ago, but someone may not have seen a Dracula movie or read the book, but when you say that name, they know exactly who you're talking about. They do. They're like, oh,
probably they get an image of Bela Lugosi or somebody doing a bad Bela Lugosi.
I don't know.
Blah blah.
I would say that more of like a bad image of Bela Lugosi, like someone basically portraying Bela Lugosi is like their image of that. But I mean, I think now, I think today, I think a lot of people associate Gary Oldman with Dracula. in today's modern world, like at least in America.
It was probably one of the more popular Dracula films in the last, what's that now?
Yeah.
34, no,
Yeah.
92.
There's a lot
So
of
30 years.
there's a lot of women my wife's age who,
Yeah.
when Dracula came out, and I mean Gary Oldman in that suit and everything, was looking so
Those
handsome
cute
and
little
suave with the
glasses.
glasses and stuff. It's like, you know what I mean? He's Gary Oldman's their Dracula.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's the thing also certainly with generational things is who's somebody's Dracula. I still to this day shake my head whenever I talk to somebody who's James Bond is Roger Moore. And I just go, oh God, not
Yeah.
again. But
I
it's
know.
because of their age, because Roger Moore was their first James Bond. So they respond to that. It has less to do with how much they love the character of James Bond as the film version of Bond that Roger Moore played. And he has his place as much as all the other guys that did him.
it's just like Batman.
Yeah.
Who's, you know, I mean, you ask anybody, it's like, who's their Batman? It's like, well, Christian Bale's my Batman, but this person will say Michael Keaton.
No,
Then you might meet
it's-
someone who will say, well, Adam West will always be Batman.
Oh, yeah, there are those. Yes. Well, that's the thing that all these years later, when Keaton came back as Batman, and nobody was expecting that. I don't even know that he was expecting it at first.
No, I'm
That
glad he did.
everybody said, "Yeah, finally the real Batman is coming back." But that's a lot of the people that were around your age that grew up with that movie. And now I can't say that I have a favorite Batman, surprisingly, and Batman is one
don't.
of my favorite comic book characters.
I don't.
Is
I mean,
because of Adam West as a kid was my Batman, because that was the only one you had at the time. In 1966, I was, 12. So he was my Batman. And
Yeah.
there were no other choices anyway at that point.
And Keaton, for the longest time, was my Batman.
So that was 66, and then your Batman was 89. So it was that long since another Batman was made.
Mm-hmm.
And then for the longest time, yes, I've enjoyed his Batman. And then the two sequels that didn't quite carry on the wonder of it all. Kilmer was a bit more successful, I thought, than certainly Clooney. I think.
Yeah.
I think Clooney was told to play it like the TV show. That's how it felt like.
It didn't.
You know?
It did certainly feel
But
like
so
that.
I don't count him, even though he did.
I don't even want to count that
even though
movie.
he did return recently.
Yeah.
As Bruce Wayne.
That was funny.
That was funny.
That was a
But
good
I gotta
gag,
say,
but
probably, if it came down to it, since there are so few actors who have played him since Adam West, I'd say I had Christian Bale would have to be my
well,
Batman.
it's
Not my Batman, but he is the closest thing to what I think Batman should be.
it's tough for me.
I don't
'cause
like Pattinson's Batman that much.
I like that movie.
Again, not because he's not any good in it. It's just it doesn't. It's the only Batman movie I could tell you that I've watched less than all the other Batman movies.
I
think
we
it's too
talked
long.
about that. I enjoyed that.
It's
Batman
a good half
movie.
an hour or more longer than it needs
It
to
could be cut. It definitely could be cut.
I think it's a little too pulled back. I think Batman really needs a little more style, a stylization, not ridiculousness.
I could agree with that, and I think that like I said, I really enjoyed that film, but I think there's
Yeah,
so
I know,
much. There's so much they're trying to establish in that film that it just makes it go way too long. So my sister-in-law, who came over, and that's kind of the reason why I bought it. She wanted to come over and watch it, and I was like, I'm gonna make this an excuse to upgrade and get this copy. Plus, I want a better copy of the because all I had was a DVD copy at the time. I want an upgraded copy of the Spanish version too. And the 4K comes with the Spanish version, like the other one, like the Blu-rays did.
And I do like that Spanish version.
So I was, I kind of made it as an excuse to buy this copy because I wanted to show her for the.
Like
and
we need excuses.
Like we need excuses, but that's the thing. And again, this movie's almost 100 years old. Here's someone who's in her 30s, who I didn't say
she's never seen it.
she's never seen it, but she came to me and Leela wanting to see it. And that was just like...
Well, you are now the source.
Well, there you go. And it amazes me that, like I said, here's someone in 2024 in their 30s and they want to watch this film. It's still this celebrated film.
Oh, yeah.
And it's still this, I find it fascinating that this character is still so celebrated after all this time.
Like
like when you asked me that, I'm not surprised. I don't know why you'd be surprised that it is.
I don't know. I
Based
guess
on that popularity through the years, how could you be surprised?
I really am. I really am truly amazed, and like I guess that kind of sums it up for me. Here's someone who I remember. I remember when I was young, and I saw these, and I wanted to seek these movies, and now here's someone after. Seems like it was forever ago. I think I was trying to get my hands on Dracula films when I was like 10 or even younger, like after I saw Abbott and Costello. And here's someone in their 30s who now is seeking out these films, and she really enjoyed it, because those old black and white movies, especially Dracula, that's a very acquired taste, I think.
There's so many generational people that have grown up.
There's
with
so many
color films and not black and white.
Well, I can't tell you how many times I hear like one of the biggest things, like watching those old films. They don't have a score. They don't have a James Bernard score. So
that's true. That's right. Lugosi's film doesn't. I keep pointing over here like he's still there or something.
Watching Dracula and Frankenstein.
There's no score.
There's no score.
Actually, when they did that, when Philip Glass did that, I didn't think it worked right. I think, in fact, it seemed a little odd having music in it.
Yeah, because it does. The way it's paced and the way it's shot, like throwing music in, kind of like you said, it kind of ruins. It takes you out. It almost takes you out of the film. I don't want
because music is in film is certainly meant to augment, to support the story. But when it's ever done to overemphasize something in the story, it almost seems like it's out of place. When it's done well, it isn't, of course. But it just sometimes feels like they didn't have enough faith in their image. They needed to give you the musical push to, this is what this is about. This is how you feel about this with the music. And there's a lot of scores that are like that.
Oh, yeah.
But there are also a lot of scores that are so well done that seem similar to that concept. But again, it's like good special effects. They're part of the story. They're not the star of the story. The music isn't overpowering the image. The image isn't overpowering the music. The effects aren't overpowering the story. It's always that perfect jumble of elements that makes a good movie. So, which is kind of a duh thing to say, I suppose. But then I do say a lot of duh things.
That's like... Well, that's my thing with Dracula. Like I said, it still amazes me that
you should be amazed. I'm saying you shouldn't be amazed, but you should be amazed.
Nah.
And the fact that you asked me straight out, why do I think it's? I'm amazed that I don't know why it is, because it's just that I know it works for me, and I have no idea why. Maybe I don't want to know why.
There you go.
Maybe it's a Freudian thing. I don't know what that
might be. Who knows?
But I like it. I like it.
Well, we are in agreement of that, my friend.
We are in agreement?
Metal Brothers of Steel. All right, and on that note,
There's going to be a bunch of people sitting out there. What the fuck did they just...
See Deathgasm.
What the hell was that? Deathgasm.
See Deathgasm. And on that note, I want to thank Neil for coming and celebrating World Dracula Day, even though it was kind of World Dracula weekend for us.
It was my great and loving pleasure to be here. I was looking forward to it. I always look forward to hanging with you anyway. I really was saddened that I didn't agree sooner to coming onto your podcast. But
the stars have aligned.
I think this is when it was supposed to happen. It's like when my child was born, when I got my job in comics, all these things, when I met my wife at a blind date, all these things happened for a reason.
Well, just remember,
that's why we were here.
When you come back next year, you gotta have some artwork for us. Hopefully, we're still doing the show next year. I don't see why we wouldn't.
Why wouldn't you be? Heck, you're not even going to be done editing some of the ones from this year.
I know. We might be showing.
So, of course,
we might be showing this episode at next World Dracula Day 2025.
Except for the copy I'm going to have.
Except for the copy you're going to have.
Which is I'm going to be watching with my family, and they're going to get really sick of watching it.
The raw 7 hours.
Yes.
Find us at the Marvel of Horror podcast on YouTube. Find us on Instagram. If you like this video, like and subscribe, and we have more. I hope you check them out. Leave your comments. We want to hear from you. And thank you for spending your time with me and Neil.
And if anybody is remotely interested in finding out more about my stuff, or more than they already know, just go onto Facebook. If you have Facebook, most people do. on Facebook and just put my name in there, and you'll find me.
And I highly recommend that you check his work out. It's very brilliant. Especially, I'm a big fan of Flesh and Blood. And if you're a horror fan,
go on to Google, put my name in there. And I was always surprised how much stuff shows up. But then again, I've been doing it for 40 years, so there's a lot of stuff out there with my name attached to it, good and bad. But yes, I would appreciate it because I always love hearing comments about the stuff. So
yeah, we want to hear from you. Leave some comments for Neil.
For him, for his
leave some
show,
comments for me.
Yeah, exactly. Please.
And we will see you next time. Thank you much.